Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the FearFans podcast. I'm your host, Don. With me is Nick, and we got a real classic for you guys tonight. And this focuses on a paranormal case that's very popular in that field.
Yes, it is. And in addition to that, this is the first time that we're doing this in quite a long time, I have to admit. Not only are we going to be talking in this case about one of my favorite haunted house movies, the Amityville Horror, but we're actually going to make this a crossover between Fear Fans and my show that I do, the Nick Files. So in addition to us talking about this, I also have a presentation that I put together, which I originally put as an I cannot talk today has
All right.
individual episodes for Nick Files, and that's going to be the presentation itself. We're not going to cover everything though, because the slideshow is actually very long. It's like about 50 slides to be exact. So we're only going to just cover just the exact most important parts of the slideshow itself and the storyline between the murders and when the Lutz family actually moved in. But
Right.
Don, why don't you go ahead and start off with this movie first before we start getting into the details of the true story behind it?
Right. So this film was released in theaters in 1979. It was directed by Stuart Rosenberg, who, I believe he also directed Cool Hand Luke. That's another big classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and originally they wanted this film to be set in the actual Amityville house, but the local authorities forbade it, saying that otherwise it would just draw attention to the house, like stir up, people like over the murders and the Lutz family. But which is exactly what happened anyway, because once this movie came out, everybody wanted to go visit that house.
Which, funny enough, part of the
It's,
slideshow that I'm going to be showing does include a few videos, including actual newscasts of people visiting the house. So you guys are going to see some real, in addition to the movie, you guys are going to see some real stuff later tonight on this episode, and I think you guys are going to find it quite fascinating. I mean, it's going to get to the point that Don, you and I don't even have to do the talking. We'll let the video do it. But yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about when this movie was shot was that, yeah, first of all, it was even back in 1979, it was never a smart idea to shoot a movie in an actual house where a family was murdered. I mean, it was also obviously clear. I'm sure the producers changed their minds out of respect too for the family that lived there, and but also more importantly too, this was just a house.
yeah.
It was never, in spite of what was going on over there, it was never intended to be a tourist attraction, especially for the residents of Amityville themselves, which, there were houses, it was part of a neighborhood.
Yeah, and I've been told that ever since this time period, the address of the official Amityville house had been changed, but it was kind of in vain though because information to that was actually leaked online, so people were actually able to find it anyway.
Right, yeah. I mean, they were changing it obviously with the
Hey,
intention
buddy.
of the hopes of wanting to deter and try to turn people away, from visiting this house. Because, again, it was just such an issue for the neighbors and also for the later owners that lived in the house. Not to mention that in the 90s, it was sometime in the 90s or early 2000s in which they also took out those classic half moon eye windows,
Yes,
to try to change up its appearance.
that's
So,
right.
but unfortunately, even to this day, clearly there are still people that do visit the house, though from what I've heard, though, the numbers and visits are not as big as it was back in the 70s and 80s.
That's right. And yeah, so instead of filming at the real house, they actually found a house that was similar out in what
Tom's
was it
River,
called?
New Jersey.
Tom's River, New Jersey. Yes, and they actually had to put their own like half moon shaped windows, which like resemble eyes. That's
A
the way.
facade, a facade they call them.
Yeah. That's like the most one of the most iconic aspects of the house is those
It
windows.
is. It's that bizarre pumpkin shaped look with the eye windows, and the intention was to give the house basically like a very malevolent, unsettling look, almost as if the house itself was truly alive. Kind of see something similar with that, with also kind of like with The Shining, or actually better yet, an earlier movie that did an example of that was the 1963 classic haunted house movie, which I'm sure we'll talk sometime in the future, is The Haunted. They did
Ooh,
the same thing with the building they used, which was Eddington Park, which is now a hotel. Um, they did the same thing where they gave the impression that the house had eyes itself. So, but very much like with The Haunting, and also with a later haunted house movie, which is clearly The Shining, with Amityville, especially with the sequels and prequels that followed, you began to start realizing the house really became more of a character itself in the film. So
pretty
it
much.
really did give that look like the house was truly like not just a house; it was just this living being that just stood there, just shrouded in darkness and waiting for new potential victims.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this movie spawned, oh man, so many sequels. Let's see, a remake in 2005, which had Ryan Reynolds and Chloe Grace Moretz. So,
I'll be right back. Continue talking because I got something I want to show. Continue talking.
okay, okay, yeah. So this movie produced quite a legacy for the film and also for like the house itself. Like this, after the success of this movie, because it was a huge, major box office success. It had made, let's see, I think yeah, around 20 to 20, or no, 86 million against a budget of just under 5 million. So, and the whole controversy that surrounded it, that's what like it boosted the ticket sales. And, this movie ended up being a much greater success than I'm pretty sure that the people in that neighborhood wanted it to be.
Okay, so I got a little collection to show you. First of all, I'll
I
start
know.
off with this. This is an original copy of the novel. Well, maybe not original, but maybe a re-edition of the original copy from 1979. 19, no, yeah,
19,
1979.
yeah.
No, it's 1975, I think it was.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
about to say, it was a little earlier than that, yeah.
yeah, it was a little bit earlier. So we got this one, and then what I still have this even 20 years later, the actual box set of the Amityville films.
Yeah.
Well, at least for the first three of them. This was released around the time when the 2005 remake came out. So, what I did, I actually did something really interesting. I actually put these movies in chronological order. So, the first one that really kind of starts off with is this one, Amityville 2, The Possession,
Yeah.
because although there's a lot more changes to the original story, this actually focuses on the family that lived there before the Lutzes, which would have been the DeFeos,
The
but
fans.
instead for this movie they changed them to the Montelli family. And even though it's supposed to be set in 1974, clearly this was made in 1982, so you can clearly tell that there's 80s related stuff. Like for example, the Walkman. The
Yeah.
Walkman didn't exist back in 1974. That didn't come out until a few years later in 1979. So the same year the original one came out.
So
Um,
it was basically like an 80s retelling of the DeFeo murders.
yes, and also in addition, they didn't have all the kids because in the original film, along with the real life family, they had five kids. In this movie, they only have four: two sons and two daughters. And one final change too is that the original, the original. I mean, in the real life case, Ron DeFeos Jr. He had this almost like this Charles Manson look. He had this big bushy beard, kind of long hair. He also, prior to the murders, had a criminal record.
Oh.
But in this movie, the character, which is renamed Sonny Montelli, is a clean cut guy, and you can clearly tell that he's never done anything wrong. So this is pretty much the prequel. And to be clear, for anybody who's seen, I'm not trying to spoil anything. I would only say that only the first half of this movie is pretty much true. The rest of it, they practically made just for the movie.
Yeah.
So,
Entertainment
got-
value.
what's that?
To boost entertainment value.
Yeah, exactly. Which part of it, because it hadn't even been almost, yes, it may have been almost 10 years, part of it was also to cash in on the success of The Exorcist, because there's an exorcism scene. They even use similar makeup for Sonny, who's possessed near the end of the movie, the yellow eyes and
Yeah,
whatnot.
I saw the similarity. Yes.
Yeah, there definitely was a big similarity.
Hey Ray,
Um,
yeah, we're doing great. Just got back from vacation. Yeah, well, I spent the holiday weekend away up in Wisconsin.
Next up, got the original one,
Oh,
the
here we go.
original one from 1979, the
Yep.
classic. And now this next one, now we're going to kind of jump the gate a little bit. This next one this didn't actually come with the collection. I just added it with it. It's Amityville 4, The Evil Escapes. Unlike the first three movies, this was actually made for television back in about 10 years after the original one from 1989. Although the same creators from the original Amityville did this one. Surprisingly, it stars Patty Duke in this
Yeah.
movie. Now, to be clear, that this is actually where the franchise began to start focusing on possessed items that were originally from the house. Now, the house does make an appearance, well, a brief appearance in this movie, but it doesn't play a full role like it did in the first three.
That's right.
And the reason why I'm saying this one comes next is this leads to the next one. Amityville 3D came out in 1983, the year after the original one came out. The second one came out. What's kind of strange about this movie is that this movie was rated PG compared to the other movies, which were rated R.
Yeah, I was surprised by that.
I honestly I don't know why they made it R-rated. I mean, it's still, yes, it doesn't have as much graphicness as the other two, especially, in fact, actually, I would say Amityville 2 is probably the darkest, most graphic, and most terrifying of the original franchise.
Yes.
This one, not so much, but I still can't understand why they gave it a PG rating. So, yes, I am. I really know a lot.
Hey, he's been like that ever since we first met when we were 12.
Well, another thing too, and again, I'm not trying to sound like a spoiler here, but in this movie too, at the end of this movie, the house self-destructs. It destroys itself with the gateway to hell it has. So you're kind of wondering that despite the destruction of the house in 3, it still manages to make an appearance in the 4th movie. And for a while, no explanation was ever given the idea of how the house could still be standing. But
Yeah.
now we came to the realization that it was quite obviously clear. First of all, there was no likely chance that the house could rebuild itself, even though it could self-destruct. So therefore, this movie probably takes place before the events of this movie, because also in the opening of this movie, nobody was living in the house at that time, and there was actually possessions that are left throughout the house, which is believed to have been left by the Lutz family. So we kind of assume this movie takes place maybe a few nights after when the Lutzes fled their homes, and before, because also in the opening, all the possessions of the house are later sold at a yard sale. So, and there is a room that has children's things in it, which I think is supposed to be one of the kids that live there. So, but yeah, so in my personal opinion, this is pretty much the last of like the franchise that actually focuses on the house. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit more.
Okay.
Now we're going to focus on the franchise did somehow continue, but as I said, at this point, now that the house was officially gone, they were now focusing on possessed items in order to continue on with the franchise. And now I'm really going to go original with this. Next up, Amityville 1992. It's about time, and yes, in VHS formats.
Oh,
Clearly, yes, this came out in 1992. Nothing to do with the house really whatsoever, but focuses this time. It even shows you on the cover a clock that supposedly once resided in the house. And what's actually really cool about this movie is that some of the creators that did this movie were also involved in the effects and some work in the Addams Family movie from a year before, in 1991.
nice.
Still a graphic movie because it's still rated R, but this was some of the creators from the Addams Family were in this. Also, too, from this point on, and this is a good reason. This is a good thing that I'm. In fact, also this is from the director of Hellbound, Hellraiser 2.
Oh, Tony Randall, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. The other thing too is much like Amityville 4, The Evil Escapes. Here, pretty much put it this way: the remaining episodes, if you will, of the original franchise is really more or less an extension of the original novel, Amityville: The Evil Escapes.
Yeah, I can
So
see
that's
that.
why they were focusing on the items and no longer on the house. But also, in addition, like I said, much like the fourth movie, which was made for television, the remaining movies that were made of the original franchise were all direct to video. So
Yeah, I
you
was about to
got
say like
Amityville.
everything since then's been direct to video.
Yeah, it has been. So next up, we got this. Oh, and this is actually really cool. I got to take the cover out. In fact,
Oh,
um, this is kind of a little bonus. We actually got this at a video store 15 years ago that
oh.
was closing. So we actually they were no longer running. They were selling these things. So
Yeah, I
I
was about to say 15 years ago. That's around the time when the home video market, the video rental market went down the tubes.
that's pretty much it. So this definitely acts as a reminder of an era that sadly ended 15 years ago. So, and don't worry, I'm just going to put this back. I'm not like forcing it out, but here,
No.
check this out. This next one, okay, here we go. Amityville, A New Generation from 1993.
I think I saw that when it was on, like when I saw that on TV years ago as a teenager.
Yeah, yeah, it's still crazy to think of who's in this movie, and one of those actors is Ross. It stars Ross Partridge in this
Yeah.
movie, which we've seen. What do we? I know he was in Stranger Things like over 25 years later, so it's kind of weird to see him as the good guy in this movie, and he's
Yeah.
actually younger. And also, in addition, this movie also stars Julia Nixon-Soul, who was in K2 and Sidekicks.
Oh.
David Naughton from An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, that's right. He was in. Yeah, like that's my favorite werewolf movie. So you just said the name, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's him from American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, and Richard Roundtree, who was in City
Shaft.
Heats. So, but
Richard Roundtree. He's the original Shaft.
he's the original. Yep, that's right. He was in that movie too. And there was also one other
Hey,
actor.
Dravos.
There was also one other actor in this movie that I guess, well, maybe I missed it, but let me just be sure on that. So just give me a second here. Oh, yes. And also, it also stars Terry O'Quinn, who a few years prior to that was also in the movie The Stepfather.
Oh yeah.
So, but this movie came with a little bit of a
Yeah,
bonus.
oh yeah. I
It
mean,
came,
like, let me see. Oh, is that?
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's a little card that
Oh,
came with it, like a little trading card, if you will, saying terror has a reflection all its own. That's the thing. This movie once again focuses on a possessed item, which you probably can't see too well. This time it focuses on a mirror that once stayed in this house. Now apparently it does. The weirdest thing is, you would think that they would be going back to, because it does focus briefly on the murders that occurred in the house, but it turns out it's not on the DeFeo or even the Montelli family. It was made up for the franchise. They're called the Bonner family this time, and this occurred apparently in 1966. So apparently in this franchise, a second murder occurred in this house,
oh man.
and also in addition to this, and also with an additional bonus, this also came with this.
Oh, it's like Ouija board.
A little Ouija board, and on the back of it has a premiere to it for the movie Witchboard 2.
Oh,
So, and it actually, like, this, I believe, they actually, okay, so it's supposed to be like a miniature Ouija board,
hmm.
and this right here, you're supposed to punch this out as the little planchette and use it. It says punch out the pointer to play. For further instructions, see Witchboard 2, now available on video cassette. And
Oh.
on the back it says, warning, don't see it alone.
They say that about all sorts of horror movies. Don't see it alone.
Okay,
But
so the very last one that I got here, that's a VHS.
oh,
This concludes the original franchise, Amityville Dollhouse. came out in 1996, which,
Yeah.
yes, I can definitely agree. This was certainly the weakest of the franchise. But
I,
I
I
will,
I never even saw it, so
it was poorly reviewed. It was definitely the weakest of the franchise, but I will give kudos to the special effects, though.
ah,
The effects were pretty good. And, there was actually you're going to like this, Don. There was a funny trivia fact about this movie.
oh
And you
yeah,
have to remember, this is 1996. This was 20 years before this came out. But so one of the supernatural characters in this movie focuses on an axe wielding zombie who is supposed to be like, because I guess it's involving two families who got married previously. Like, the two parents they lost, there was, their previous spouses or whatever. So they get married. And unfortunately, it turns out on one side of that family, one of the kids, his father apparently had died before that, like in war.
hey Sarah.
So he comes back. He comes back to life, and his character though is actually very interesting. Give me a second, because the actor who played him. Okay, sorry. Give me just a second. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. So this movie was directed by Steve White, and the actor that played the zombie was Clayton Murray. Does that ring a bell, by the way?
Somehow where it does, yes.
Okay,
Trying to
so
remember where. Swear
so
by the name.
it says, according to Steve White, Clayton Murray remained in character as the undead specter of Jimmy's father whenever he had the makeup on. Even when the cameras were not rolling, he would crack various dark jokes around the set, and White compared him to an early version of Deadpool.
Oh wow.
Would have loved to have seen that. So, hey,
Yeah,
looks like
and then
Deadpool was around much earlier than expected.
yep, and not to mention that Ryan Reynolds was the star in the remake in 2005 for
And
Amityville Horror.
that's even though, yes, that concludes the original franchise, obviously. Even though I'm not always that big on remakes myself, unless they have to be really, really good. That leaves us with this one. The
Yep.
remake from 2005.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
it's like
pretty,
it's like anytime I watch a Ryan Reynolds movie now, every time I hear his voice, I'm hearing Deadpool. So next time I watch that remake, I'm just gonna be like, oh man.
you know, I always said, it's funny, it was a decade before he became, over a decade before he did Deadpool. So
Yeah.
I always said, it's even weirder too, he had facial hair in this movie. So I've often said this is the movie in which, I mean, yes, I know Ryan Reynolds had been in plenty of other movies before that too, but I always say this is one of those movies that starred Ryan Reynolds before he became Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, pretty much.
And what's crazy is that, did you ever hear where the house they used in this movie? Mid Mobile, yeah. Did you ever hear where they used the house in this movie though?
Oh yeah, where's that at? Tell them.
This was actually closer to our area, Don, in Silver Lake, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That they used.
Oh, yeah,
Although what you see in the movie though is that they only use the exteriors of the house, and they put the facade over that one too. The inside of the house was shot somewhere else, and that's also funny too with
Hey,
the
Thomas.
original. That's also funny with the original franchise. When they shot the original Amityville movie back in 1979, both the exterior and interior of the house were shot. But once they got to the second and third movies, only the exterior shots were shot outside, were shot in Toms River, New Jersey. The interiors for Amityville 2 and 3 were shot in a studio in Mexico for the interior.
Yeah,
Which
I had a feeling. I
Go
had a
ahead,
feeling
Bud.
the interior shots would. Yeah, I had a feeling the interior shots look different.
They did. You can definitely see a change in it. I mean, yeah, there are similar, like the staircase was different, the basement. If you look at the original film, the basement seemed a lot more crowded. But in the second and third movies, it seemed like there was more wide space to it. So that's why things looked very different. And also in the original movie, when they went up to the top stairs, the eye windows were right at the top floor. But in the second and third movie, the eye windows in one side of the house were in a separate room. And also, finally, in this movie Amityville 2, Amityville 4, The Evil Escapes, when they shot the third movie, the producers of that movie never got the chance of filming the exteriors of the house in Toms River, New Jersey for the third movie, because the house was planned on being picked up, and moved like one block over to another neighborhood in Toms River. So they were able to actually shoot those scenes just before they moved the house to its current location now. But
nice.
when they made this movie, though, clearly they were not going to get the house for Toms River, New Jersey for a fourth movie. So they shot this entirely at a completely different location. This time it was at a house in, I forgot the town's name, but it was in Wilmington, California. And they put a facade over that one. But you know what's kind of strange about this one is that the interiors of the house, which the interiors were used in that movie too, at least parts of it was, not the entire house. What's interesting about the interiors of the house they used in this fourth movie, it actually resembled more of the actual Amityville house itself, because when you see the staircase, it goes up and then it stops. It makes this little curve and then makes like a little next step to get upstairs. That's exactly what the original house looks like. So I was surprised that they didn't use that one instead. And to be honest, that house was actually a lot more creepier than they used for the prior films. So,
and
to put everything, I was just gonna say, go ahead, Don. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like whenever there are any attempts to throw Amityville Horror into a media now, it feels like there are very, very few ones that are even worth seeing. This one right here called the Amityville Awakening, which came out in 2017.
That's the next one I was about to show, The Awakening. I got that one.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah, because I feel like I would see that simply because of who's in it. I mean, there's Jennifer Jason Leigh, Bella Thorne, and also McKenna Grace. That's a rising star right there.
Yeah, in spite that.
Oh, Kurtwood Smith from that '70s show.
Yep, he's in it too. Now, surprisingly, I haven't, even though I've had this for the last few years, I haven't actually seen this other than the trailer. So I've been curious. I know it sounds crazy, yeah. And what's even more crazy... What? Oh my God, no!
Are you serious?
The Rex!
I know, it just feels like people will just come up with a random plot and say, how can we get this more attention? Throw Amityville House into it. Yeah, then there you go.
Well, what's even crazy about Amityville The Awakening is that this was from the same producer of Split, Get Out, and The Purge. So, yeah, it's a Blumhouse production. And, once again, it's another movie that is an exceptional rating, if you will, because, again, unlike the other Amityville films, with the exception of the third movie, this one was actually rated PG-13. So, no, it's not an AI thing. This came out in 2017.
No. She's not talking about that. She's referring to Amityville Rex.
Yeah, that, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's not AI. Apparently human beings actually worked on it.
Well, and also, the other reason why I got this movie, too, was that, yes, I know not too many people are crazy about this movie, but this actually was, again, with all the big stars that's in this movie, this is pretty much an official movie of the Amityville franchise. It does take place in the house. Hey, Joanne, it does take place in some way, shape, or form in the house, but it also takes place also in a completely different universe. Because here's the thing: all these movies that I've shown you so far, there's a scene in the movie where one of the kids has the entire collection that I have in this movie. So it's basically like a movie within a movie thing. And I think they're actually watching the original film in this movie. So it's like an in-universe kind of thing. Nice. So I definitely will say it's definitely better. And the very last one that, in my personal opinion, is the true last movie of the... Because, yes, like you said, it was around that time, starting around 2015 or so, they started making these low-budget movies that had nothing to do with Amityville whatsoever. They just used the title of it.
Yeah, I just came across another one right just now called, oh God, here, Amityville Shark House.
Yep, Amityville Shark House, Amityville Asylum. I can't believe I'm about to say this. They even made, oh my God, please forgive me, Amityville dildo. They were like they were using tons of excuses of like title names. Amityville Monkey, Amityville in Space. Like what the hell? Yeah, I know,
I know,
right?
like that's just so ridiculous.
It is so bad, and they're to me they're nothing more
Oh,
than
man.
amateur-made movies just using the Amityville as an excuse, and have nothing to do with yeah, the movie money should have been redirected. So
Yeah, there's like what could they spend the money on? Anything, literally anything other than this.
yes, so to conclude the official franchise, the last one that really stayed to the term of Amityville. This came out about a year after Amityville: The Awakening in 2018. And what I'm
Okay.
about to show, because like we saw the 2005 one, which is kind of the remake of the 1979 one. Well, this next one I'm about to show is actually sort of like a remake of Amityville 2: The Possession, and that is the Amityville Murders.
Oh,
So, and this one, unlike Amityville 2: The Possession, this time they do everything correctly. They put all five kids together. It's set in 1974. They use the title. They do use the family names this time in the DeFeos, and even
mhm.
more amazingly, you like this. Even two of the actors from the original Amityville 2 are in this movie, and
Oh
those
wow.
two and those two actors are Burt Young and Diane Franklin, who were in the original. Who Burt Young, he was the father in the original film, which he reprises his role, if you will, in this movie. And Diane Franklin, who, funny enough, no, I'm sorry, no, Burt Young is. I don't think he's the.
Hey,
I don't
Cindy.
think. Oh, hey, Sydney. Actually, no, I don't think Burt Young is the father in this.
No,
Father
did
in
he
this
make
film.
like just a cameo appearance? I guess.
I think he's supposed to be a grandfather, but Diane Franklin, who portrays the daughter in the original Amityville 2,
Right.
this time she's the mother in this movie.
Ah,
So,
I definitely
uh,
gotta check those out.
so
So
therefore, since the original one came out in 1979, I would say the official franchise. There's been officially 11 movies that have came out.
wow.
So, and that explains too. Just to add to it, let's not forget, even Amityville made an appearance too in the opening scene of The Conjuring 2,
That's
which we
right.
remember seeing. So I know some people have often asked, well, why didn't the Conjuring franchise didn't because if they were going to focus on the Warrens case, why did they never make it an Amityville movie for Conjuring? James Wan had said that the focus when they were still after they made the original Conjuring movie, um, they said they wanted to focus like on almost every case possible that the Warrens focused on except the Amityville Horror, because clearly, as what I've shown you guys, there have been 11 movies of the Amityville Horror. So they realized that if they made a movie specifically for Amityville, they were just adding another movie to the franchise. It
Pretty
would just
much.
be another Amityville film. So
Yeah.
they said that they were going to focus on it. They would be fine with showing the opening part of it, but they were not going to make a movie based on it. And that's probably why less
Stumbled
than
across. Oh, hey, Sydney. It's great to have another horror fan join this.
oh, hi there, Sydney.
Yeah,
Welcome.
yes, yeah, I've been a fan since I was 5 years old when I first saw Jaws on TV. So, and been loving horror since. And me and Nick are huge fans of horror, so we decided to create a podcast for the Things Network.
And also, just so you know, too, Sydney, because since we're talking about a haunted house movie, in addition, I'm also a paranormal investigator. I've actually been an investigator for now 21 years, for as long as I know this guy. In fact, first time we met was at a ghost tour here in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
And what's kind of funny, the movie we're talking about, the Amityville Horror, is in fact, for some of you guys who don't know, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys remember when I talked about this originally on my show,
Hmm.
but the Amityville Horror, the real case, was the very first case that I ever studied at a young age, at only 12 years old. And it was also my very first heavily documented case that I truly investigated, and was up until recently was basically doing everything I could to uncover the true story behind the actual both the movies and the real life story.
Oh yeah. And I
So,
remember first hearing about the Amityville, like getting interested in the Amityville cases back in 2005 when the remake came out.
Right.
And yeah, when I was told that it was inspired by a true story, I'm just like, whoa, what actually happened in real life? And then I looked into it and I saw like the history of the DeFeo family murders. Uh, yeah, let's talk about
Oh,
those murders. So
I just
that
wanted
took place in
I just wanted to say one more
what?
thing just about the movies. Is that this was actually
Okay,
just about when I was mentioning about The Conjuring 2, by the way, because they weren't going to make a movie on that. That's the reason why they made these two movies basically in return. So,
I see.
anyways, that's all I had for the movies. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Film of the Purge? Oh, the original, definitely. I
Yeah.
always loved the first Purge. It's like, yeah, the sequels were interesting, but the first one always does it for me.
Hmm.
Oh, not really into the paranormal. Oh, that's okay. I mean, hey, we still cover all kinds of horror content on this podcast. So yeah, no worries. Yeah, we reason why we discuss the paranormal on here is because this is a paranormal based story, like the Amityville house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and not everyone's all for the paranormal, but still, yeah, it's Oh, she said it's real. Well, we got a skeptic here. So, well, I mean, we do. I mean, not everyone's all for believers into the paranormal. I mean, we actually do. I still have some skepticism involved with it. In fact, what I might be telling you guys, presenting, may surprise you guys, and it does have a skeptical side of things. So, hello, Leon.
yeah, Leon, how's it going, man?
Anyways, go ahead, Don. Give your side of the story for the murders, and then I'll start presenting the slideshow. Then.
Of course. So, yeah, the DeFeo family murders, like it took place in the night of November 13th, 1974, and this which of course inspired the novel, The Amityville Horror, which this movie is based on. And so, like, it involved 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr., who had murdered his six members of his family, including his parents, with I think it was a 35 caliber rifle.
Yes, and
Oh
it had
yes,
no
and
silencer
would,
on
that's right. The fact that it had no silencer on it is actually surprising because I was about to say, how did everybody not wake up after the first gunshot?
it. That's the thing that really puzzles a lot of people, and not only just them, like the family themselves, but also the neighbors too, because the houses are pretty close together. So, yes, mafia, intrigue, and abusive parents. That's the thing about this that we're going to get into is that prior to the murders, the family, the DeFeo family themselves, did not have very much of a good life, if you will. The
No.
DeFeo the how the life, if you will, was very negative from the start. Here, give me just a second here because I'm actually just getting the slideshow ready. So, um, if you don't mind, Don, can I share the slideshow now?
Sure.
Okay.
And and let's see. Oh, also before we start the slideshow, I wanted to get into like the movie's details
Yeah, sure. Go
about
ahead.
the people that were in this. So the biggest name in this film, two big names in this film, are James Brolin, who I've seen in several movies, and also I'm very familiar with the works of his son Josh Brolin. I followed his work from The Goonies to Weapons. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, there's plenty of good things to say about both their reputations, and also Margot Kidder played Kathy, the mom, in this, and this was around the time when her career was really going uphill after she began her most iconic role as Lois Lane in the Superman movies.
It's just the year before.
Yeah, I was about to say, believe it was the year before this.
Yep, 1978.
Um, yes, yeah, that was right. And let's see, I believe, oh yeah, like Murray Hamilton, who was most famous role in Jaws. He was pretty much kind of like the same kind of skeptic person in this as he was in Jaws.
Yeah,
So
that's
I would say his character's really similar to playing Mayor Vaughn in Jaws.
yeah, the guy who just doesn't want to accept anything. Oh, by the way, turns out as I'm packing these movies up, speaking of
Hmm.
Conjuring 2, this just popped up. So in some way, like I said, this movie does came out in 2016. So again, does have Amityville in the opening part of it. So, but yeah, and then also you had who was also Superman and Amityville. The next, oh God, can you imagine if they?
Um,
Can you imagine if they made another low budget movie? That you know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I don't want to give them any ideas.
nope, don't give him ideas, bro. Anyway, yeah, let's start your slideshow.
So, anyways, real quick with, well, first off, Sydney's asking about the slide. So, Sydney, since you're new, I just also want to say, even though I know you're not big into the paranormal, I actually do have my own show here on this network, which is called the Nick Files, in which, unlike most of these podcasts here on this network, my show relies and revolves around slideshows that I put together involving, haunted locations and well, both haunted and historical locations, along with history events and whatnot. So, oh, you went to a Paracon? Well, yeah. Well, I again, I can understand it. But anyways, so, but yeah, this episode basically is going to be a. Hey, Irene, good to see you. Irene, I got to message you after when we're done with the show. I got to talk to you about Friday. Not to make this sort of last minute, but I have to reschedule. I'll explain more later. Anyways, but yeah, this episode is actually a crossover between my show and Don's show. So without further ado, here we go. All right, so just so you know, Don, as a reminder, I'm not going to be able to see comments while I'm doing this because now I'm actually on the slideshow itself.
Gotcha.
Hang on, just give me a second here while I'm.
Hey, Nikki.
Oh, hey, Nikki. While I'm getting this ready, here we go. All right, so this is how I usually start off the show, and yes, this is the actual house of the Amityville house. For those that haven't seen, I mean, I'm sure most of you guys have seen the real house itself, but this is. For those who haven't, this is the actual house back in 1974. So, we're going to focus a little bit on the DeFeo family. And yes, these are the actual pictures of the family themselves, which you can kind of see that it looked like originally that they were a very nice family to begin with. But unfortunately, what you're seeing right now is not how everything looks.
Yep,
so,
there was definitely darkness living among them.
Yes, there was. Now, we're also going to talk a little bit about the history of the house itself, too. Okay. So, according to deeds and information compiled by the Amityville Historical Society, the Ocean Avenue property had once been farmland belonging to the Irelands, one of Amityville's most prominent and influential families. On January 14th, 1924, Annie Ireland sold the property to John and Catherine Monahan. The following year, Amityville builder Jesse Purdy constructed the large Dutch colonial at 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville in Long Island, New York, that still stands there today. So clearly, just last year, the house itself had just turned 100 years old, 1925. While their new home was being built, the Moyahans, I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering that name right now, relocated to the old house down the street. When the house was finished, the family of six moved back in, and once again enjoyed life by the Amityville Creek happily for many years. When John and Catherine Moynihan died, their daughter Eileen Fitzgerald moved in with her own family. She lived there until October 17, 1960, when John and Mary Riley, parents of 11-year-old and future actress Christine Riley, bought the house. Because of marital problems, the Rileys divorced and sold the house on June 28, 1965. Now, Robert DeFeo Sr. purchased the three-story Dutch colonial home, equipped with a boathouse on the Amityville River and plenty of rooms for his wife, Louise, and their 5 children, Robert Jr., Dawn, Allison, Mark, and newborn John, who renovated it, landscaped it, and put in a swimming pool. It was the American dream. A beautiful house, happy family, and money to spare. The DeFeos even placed a sign in the front yard that read High Hopes, as a symbol of the family's good fortune and dreams for the future. Apparently, behind the success and happiness, from the time they moved in and lived up until the time of their deaths, the DeFeo family was dysfunctional and often used violence to resolve issues. Ronald DeFeo Sr. was a brutal and angry man, prone to outbreaks of rage and violence. He and Louise often fought, and he was a threatening figure to his children. As the oldest child, Robert DeFeo Jr. often bore the brunt of his father's expectations and bad temper. He was an overweight, sullen boy who was often picked on in school. His father harassed him to stand up for himself, but never at home. Ronald Sr. had no patience for disobedience or backchat. As Ronald Jr. got older, he grew stronger and larger and was no longer as tolerant of his father's abuse. By the age of 17, Ronald Jr., or Butch, as he was called by his friends, was using serious drugs and dabbling in petty thievery. He was expelled from school because of his drug use. His behavior had also become more erratic and his violent outbursts more psychotic. Butch's temper had grown as hot as his father's, and when he reached adolescence, they often succumbed to fist-fighting matches. Even Ronald Sr., with his own anger issues, began to realize that his son's temper and violent behavior were not normal. So, it was already bad from the start, as you can see here, Don.
Clearly.
Yeah, and you can see he was already arrested for a previous... You can see that was him. It doesn't say what he was arrested for in that case, but it said he was arrested the year before in 1973. So, even though he was well looked out after by his family, landing an easy job at his grandfather's car dealership where he received a weekly allowance, whether he turned up to work or not, Ronald Jr. was growing more angry and resentful of his father's supposedly stingy ways. Ronald Sr. and Louise arranged for Butch to visit a psychiatrist, but it did not help. Ronald Jr. insisted there was nothing wrong with him and refused to work with the psychiatrist. In the absence of any other solution, the DeFeos began simply buying Butch whatever he wanted in order to placate him. At the age of 14, his father gave him a $14,000 speedboat to cruise the Amityville River. Whenever Ronald Jr. needed money, he only had to ask, and it was given to him. We're gonna just speed just a little bit more, but we'll stop right here briefly. The altercations with his father grew more frequent and more dangerous. One night, a fight started between Robert Sr. and Louise. To settle the matter, Butch took a 12-gauge shotgun from his room, placed a shell into the chamber, and went downstairs. He walked into the room, pointed the gun at his father, and pulled the trigger. Strangely, though, it did not go off. Ronald Sr. sat frozen in his chair and watched as his son lowered the gun and walked out of the room. Ronald Jr. seemed completely unconcerned that he had nearly killed his father in cold blood. The fight was over, but Butch's reaction was an indication of events to come. So that's Ronald Sr. when he was younger, and there's Louise. So in the weeks before the murders, the relationship between Ronald Jr. and his father reached a breaking point. He was unhappy with the money that he earned from his father and planned a fake robbery with a friend while he was on the way to the bank to deposit $20,000 from the dealership, splitting the stolen cash with his friend. Ronald Sr. exploded into a rage when he heard Butch's story, berating the staff member who had entrusted him with the money in the first place. When Ronald Sr. exposed his sham, Ronald Jr. wanted revenge. The police were called who interviewed Butch. Instead of devising a fictional story about the robbery, he became tense and irritable with them. He soon became violent when they began to suspect that he was lying. Butch started cursing them and banging on the hood of a car to emphasize his rage. The police backed off for the moment, but Ronald Sr. had already come to his own conclusions about his son's behavior. He knew that he had stolen the money. So we're gonna just speed up just a little bit because again, I can't show the entire thing.
Right.
Let me just see here. Oh wait, actually no, we're actually at a good spot. So this is where the murders come in. This is where we're about to get to. So give me just a second here. Do you have any questions or anything you want to say, Don, while I'm getting the set?
I'm just saying, like, this is definitely the kind of family that was just pretty much screwed from the start.
The only good thing I would say involving with what was happening here, I got to start this over again. With what was going on in that house was that Ronald Jr. at least was protective of the younger siblings because unfortunately, the sibling, Ronald Sr.'s abuse was not just restricted just to Ronald Jr. It also obviously, again, it extended also to the other siblings.
Yeah.
And Ronald Jr., before he died a few years ago, when he later was spoken about the murders that he committed, he said his original intention was only one, to kill his father because he was being so abusive. He didn't have the idea. He did not have the idea of wanting to kill his entire family. It was just his father that was just completely out of control. But of course, that all changed. Hang on a second. Sorry. I seriously hate what. Oh wait, here we go. Okay. The slideshow was acting kind of weird. Okay, so let me get this back up on screen again. Yep, Sydney, you're about to see what happened. Yeah, she's asking with murders.
Yep.
Yeah, you are about to see what's about to happen next. So, okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Let me full screen. See, I wish we. This is why I liked StreamYard better, because I didn't have to do all this process then. Thank you, Don.
No problem.
Okay. So on the Friday before the murders, the police had asked Ronald Jr. to look at some mugshots on the chance that he might be able to identify the thief who allegedly robbed him. He agreed to do this, but then backed out at the last minute. When his father heard this, he confronted Butch and demanded to know why he didn't want to help the authorities. The two began shouting at one another, and then Ronald ran to his car and drove away. This fight had not turned violent, but that was coming. So, now, here we go. 9 years after the DeFeo family moved into the house, the night of Wednesday, November 13th, 1974, was a cool one in Amityville. Everyone had gone to sleep with the exception of 23-year-old Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr., who was brooding in his room. The more he simmered in his thoughts, the more determined he became to solve his problems once and for all. Butch left the second floor TV room armed with his .35 caliber Marlin rifle from some storage space where he kept several weapons, and started off silently but purposefully toward his parents' bedroom. He entered his parents' bedroom, instantly killing his father, 43-year-old Ronald DeFeo Sr., with 2 shots to the lower back. The first shot ripped into Ronald Sr.'s back, tearing through his kidney and exiting through his chest. The second shot, again fired into his back, pierced his father's spine and lodged in his neck. His mother, 42-year-old Louise, was now awake. So surprisingly, Don, there were actually 2 family members that actually were awakened by the noise. But so Louise was now awake, but had no time to react before Ronald Jr. fired at her too. He shot her twice, shattering her rib cage and collapsing her right lung, and then left her to die. Butch left his parents' room to continue the massacre. His 2 younger brothers, 12-year-old Mark and 9-year-old John, were his next victims. Standing between their beds in the room, the 2 young boys shared. He fired 1 shot at close range into each of their bodies. Mark was killed instantly, while John, whose spinal cord was severed by his brother's attack, twitched for a few moments and then lay still. Again, the shots had not roused the remaining members of the family. Finally, he entered the room of his sisters, 18-year-old Dawn and 13-year-old Allison. As Ronald Jr. walked into the room, Allison stirred and looked up just as he pointed the rifle at her face and pulled the trigger. His youngest sister was killed instantly. Butch aimed his weapon at Dawn's head as well, blowing off the left side of her face. So very, very, very gruesome.
Oh, we've got Nikki joining us.
Oh, Nikki, okay. Yeah, bring her in. Hey, Nikki, how are you? I'm doing really good. Long time no see.
It's been a while.
For sure.
It really
I am
has
alive. I don't disappear like poor Nick in the photo.
You came at a good timing because we're talking about the Amityville Horror and the real case behind it. So, again, I'm not trying to speed things up. I just want to try to get to everything we possibly can. So, that was a very horrific. It was an absolutely brutal murder, involving this family. So after the murders, it was around 3:15 a.m. that morning. In less than 15 minutes, Ronald Jr. had brutally killed every member of his family in cold blood. DeFeo's parents had been both shot twice, while the children had all been killed with single shots.
No.
Butch calmly showered, trimmed his beard, and dressed in jeans and work boots. He then gathered his bloody clothing and the rifle, wrapped them up in a pillowcase, and left the house in his car. Ronald Jr. drove into Brooklyn and threw the pillowcase and its contents into a storm drain.
Oh.
He then returned to Long Island and reported to work at his grandfather's Buick dealership as if nothing happened.
Good God.
But the craziest thing was, the murders were eventually reported by Butch himself when at around 6:30 p.m. later that day, he burst into Henry's bar in Amityville and declared, "You gotta help me. I think my mother and father are shot." DeFeo and a small group of people went to 112 Ocean Avenue, which was located not far from the bar, and found that DeFeo's parents and siblings were indeed dead. One of the group, Joe Yeswit, made an emergency call to the Suffolk County Police, who searched the house and found that 6 members of the same family were dead in their beds. And these are, I'm not going to show, I don't have them, fortunately. Believe it or not, I actually do have the crime scene photos of the actual family members. Of course, obviously, being the smart person, I was not going to include I'm not going to show those, obviously, in the slideshow itself. But I do have the other pictures of when they were loading, like this, for example, when they were loading them up. So less graphic pictures. So just absolutely awful. But yes, Ronald Jr. was the family's lone surviving member. He was taken into the local police station for his own protection after suggesting to police officers at the scene of the crime that the killings had been carried out by a mafia hitman named Tony Mazio, who he claimed had a vendetta against him. The detectives grew suspicious when they found an empty gun box in his bedroom that matched the murder weapon. However, an interview with DeFeo at the station soon exposed serious inconsistencies in his version of events. The following day, he confessed to carrying out the killings himself, and Mazio had an airtight alibi proving he was out of the state at the time of the killings. DeFeo told detectives, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast." He admitted he had taken a bath, redressed, and discarded crucial evidence like blood-stained clothes, the Marlin rifle, and cartridges on his way to work as usual.
Wow.
The local community were devastated. The DeFeos were a well-known family within the community. Their children attended the local schools with the other children of Amityville. Locals watched with horror as Ronald DeFeo Jr. was taken away by police. He was later tried and convicted for all of the murders. So,
And he spent life in prison.
yes.
Wow.
So that's, I just want to see how much I have because I don't want to get, okay, so there's just about 2 slides left for the murder sequences.
Okay.
All 6 of the victims were found lying on their stomachs, face down in their beds, with their heads resting on their arms, as if something had held them there while they were shot, with no signs of a struggle or sedatives having been administered, leading to speculation that someone in the house should have been awakened by the noise of the gunshots. Now, they're saying not one of the family appeared to have been woken by the sounds of the gunshots, even though the high-powered rifle that was used can normally be heard up to a mile away when fired, according to gun experts. Neighbors did not report hearing any gunshots being fired either, yet they claimed the only sound they heard was the barking of the DeFeo family dog. The police investigation concluded that most of the victims were asleep at the time of the murders and that the rifle had not been fitted with a suppressor. Police officers and the medical examiner who attended the scene were initially puzzled by the rapidity and scale of the killings and considered the possibility that more than one person had been responsible for the crime. During his time in jail, Ronald Jr. had given several inconsistent accounts of how the killings were carried out. It was said that he drugged the family at dinner time so they would not awaken as he moved from room to room shooting each one with the rifle, although the autopsies discredited this theory. The police believe that the house muffled the sound of the shots. However, many people who have been in the house reported that street noise can be heard from inside. Until his death, Butch continued to change his story. Being a habitual liar, it is still unclear what role he played in the murders and whether he acted alone. For many, the truth remains to be told, and investigations are in progress that may shed light on the validity of his story. So, Ronald Jr. was put on trial for the killings on October 14th, 1975. He and his defense lawyer, William Weber, mounted an affirmative defense of insanity, with DeFeo claiming that he killed his family in self-defense because he heard their voices plotting against him. He also claimed he heard demonic voices in the house telling him to do it. The insanity plea was supported by the psychiatrist for the defense, Dr. Daniel Schwartz. The psychiatrist for the prosecution, Dr. Harold Zolan, maintained that although DeFeo was an abuser of heroin and LSD, he had an antisocial personality disorder and was aware of his actions at the time of the crime. When asked during his trial why he had done such a thing, Butch replied, "As far as I'm concerned, if I didn't kill my family, they were going to kill me. And as far as I'm concerned, what I did was self-defense, and there was nothing wrong with it. When I got a gun in my hand, there's no doubt in my mind who I am. I am God."
Nope, he's a guy who was just playing God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is very brief. This is an actual news clip
Wow.
of the crime scene itself that I'm about to show you guys. May not be able to hear. Let me know if you guys can hear it.
No.
Okay.
There's no talks or anything like this, so it's fine.
Nick, did they make a documentary about this?
Yeah, they did. They made a couple documentaries on this in the early the 90s and early 2000s.
I was about to say, there's got to be like tons of documentaries on this.
Yeah, there is. I actually have. I didn't show it on camera. I have another DVD that's called Amityville Confidential, and it features two documentaries that originally aired on the History Channel. One called Amityville Horror or Hoax, and Amityville the Haunting, that came out around 2004, 2005, around the remake when it came out. So this is basically the police. They're just kind of searching the premises of whatever else they could find. Just gonna skip ahead just a little bit more because I don't want to go too much into it.
Yeah, we're gonna need to wrap up this slideshow.
Yeah. Yeah, see, unfortunately... Oh, okay, so I'll play one more. This is actually Ronald DeFeo Jr. himself being taken into custody.
Oh, yeah, I know who this is, yeah.
Oh yeah, there he is. Oh man, he does look like a total psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something's not mentally stable.
Yeah.
See, I'd like to continue on with it, but we just don't have time. Okay, so to conclude this for his trial, on November 21st, 1975, over a year since the murders, Ronald DeFeo Jr. was found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder. The court found that Ronald Jr.'s motive for murdering his family was the $200,000 insurance that was payable to him. On December 4th, Judge Thomas Stark sentenced Ronald DeFeo Jr. to 6 concurrent sentences of 25 years to life. DeFeo did not react to the sentence. If there was a shock or fear, he didn't show it. Then again, he had said that he never had any feelings about anything. "My feelings went away a long time ago," he once said. DeFeo was held in Greenhaven Correctional Facility in Beekman, New York, and all of his appeals to the parole board to date were denied. With the family dead, the house went up for sale. The horrific nature of the massacre unnerved the otherwise quiet Long Island neighborhood. The murdered members of the DeFeo family are buried in nearby St. Charles Cemetery in Farmingdale. Ronald DeFeo Jr. himself died on March 12, 2021, at the age of 69 at the Albany Medical Center. The official cause of his death is yet to be determined, and his body was cremated. So, as much as I'd like to continue on with it... Oh, actually, just to show pictures, This was the funeral that followed and where their grave is today.
Wow.
Very
sad.
sad.
Yeah. So, yeah, just to clear any confusion, because Sydney's been asking some questions here about what's going on with the show. So, Sydney, this is a horror podcast. We with this episode is it's a crossover between Nick's show and mine because of how this show focuses on how this one episode focuses on a movie that has some real aspects to it, such as the murders, like Nick just described, and which of course we're going to also discuss more of the movie as well. And like one of the most iconic aspects of this movie is the fly scene, where
Yes.
where Father Delaney is coming in to bless the house, but just invites himself in. Like, yeah, pretty sure you wouldn't get away with that these days. But anyway, so goes up to the bathroom, but then is menaced by all these flies. And I'm guessing these flies represent like a demonic presence.
Demonic. Yeah, that usually the fly, and not just Amityville. There's other haunted house cases where flies were usually involved, and that usually indicates that you have supernatural, or if you'd like to use the term, demonic activity.
Yeah, and of course that chilling voice, ordering him to get out. And yeah, that's one thing that you'll notice in this is like anybody religious who tries to contact the house or tries to go in the house ends up having bad stuff happen to them. Like
Yeah.
yeah, such as nausea, and also I remember the burns on his hand.
Well, and that goes to the real life stuff again, because there's actually kind of a difference between what happens in the movie and what happens in real life. I'm terribly sorry, Don. I do have to show one because, funny enough, I do have that slide involving with what happened in the real life case. So this is just one slide this time, though.
Okay.
This one now the difference is yes, like you said, that in the movie he's known as Father Delaney, but in reality, his name was actually Father Mancuso, and in the real life account behind that famous scene from the movie. Thank you, Don.
No problem.
So what is said involving? Sorry, just trying to get. I'm trying to go from one screen to another. Here we go. So, Father Mancuso, which this is what you guys are seeing right now, is I believe, as far as we know, the only known photo of him that's available.
Oh.
Father Mancuso was a lawyer, a judge of the Catholic court, and a psychotherapist who lived at the local Sacred Heart Rectory. He arrived to perform the blessing while George and Kathy were unpacking their belongings on the afternoon of December 18th of 1975 and went into the building to carry out the rites. When he flicked the first holy water and began to pray, he felt a cold presence and heard an audible, masculine, disembodied male voice demanded that he get out. Shortly after, he was then physically slapped across the face by an unseen force while he stood alone in an empty room. When leaving the house, Father Mancuso did not mention this incident to neither George nor Kathy. As he drove back to the rectory, the bonnet of the priest's car flew open, smashing against his windshield. One of the welded hinges tore loose. The right door flew open and the car stalled. The priest summoned a friend for help. Later, the windscreen wipers began to fly back and forth like crazy and couldn't be stopped. On December 24th, Father Mancuso telephoned George and advised him to stay out of the room where he had heard the mysterious voice. This was a room on the second floor that Kathy planned to use as a sewing room and had formerly been the bedroom of Mark and John Matthew DeFeo. The telephone call was cut short by static, and following his visit to the house, Father Mancuso allegedly developed a high fever and blisters on his hands, similar to stigmata. Every time he would attempt to help the Lutzes, the bleeding blisters would erupt on his hands. Telephone calls between the Lutzes and the priest were continually interrupted or cut off by loud noises and eerie sounds, making it impossible for them to talk. And that's actually a screenshot of him from an interview. Now, sadly, Father Mancuso was said to have died sometime in the late 1980s, although his date of death is unknown. So drawing comparisons between that fly scene and the real and the real case, you can see there was a similarity, but it was also quite different.
Let's see. Some of the actors are still acting, I think. I know that James Brolin is. Let's see. Margot Kidder is no longer with us. God rest her soul. But let's see. Yeah, James Brolin, and of course, pretty sure we all know his son Josh Brolin.
Yeah, Josh Brolin is kind of in more or less continuing his father's legacy. Sydney, it's actually called Nick Files, not Netflix. My show is usually on Wednesdays. It's usually every Wednesday at around 4. I'm not sure where you are located, so it's because me and Don are from Chicago. It is 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Although currently I'm kind of on hiatus with the show because I'm actually focusing on several other projects right now that I'm working on. But eventually, Nick Files will be back. I can promise you that. Oh, and Jill's in the chat. I just noticed that. Hey, Jill.
Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't notice this at first.
Well, I told you, when I do these slideshows, see, like I said before, I can't see comments when I'm doing this, unfortunately. Because I have the slideshow on full screen.
Right. So let's cover like some of the most iconic scenes of the whole movie, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like of course, then like all sorts of things go wrong in this house. Let's see, such as how George keeps waking up at 3:15 a.m., which is the time when the murders took place. So it's in reference to that.
Not to mention the witching hour.
Yeah, the witching hour, of course. And let's see, and also the dog is like attracted to like a section of the basement, which appears to be a wall, but we discover what that is later. That it's they don't really show what's glowing red in the room. I'm guessing it's like probably a pentagram.
I would say so, yes.
I don't know if it's basically like a pentagram, but it was definitely something similar. Yes, Sydney. Me and Don are from Chicago, so it's Central Standard Time for us. And yes, Sydney, it's funny you mentioned saying I have a great voice for podcasts. In fact, the projects I'm working on are audiobooks that I'm working on, which you can go on my YouTube channel and check out.
Oh yeah, and I've been helping out a bit with that as well.
Yes, you have.
Yep. Oh yeah. So yeah, so as we know, the Amityville Horror has obviously created quite a legacy with the movie franchise. All the sequels and the 2005 remake, and yeah, like I wanted to go back to the way a comment that Sydney had left. Here, where was that? Don't know if anyone should profit from such a tragedy. I mean, I can agree to that. I mean, I believe that to a degree, and but then again, there are movies that have been made that were based on horrific tragedies that were like years and years, even probably like decades later. Like look at Titanic. I mean, that's one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're making a movie involving a tragedy that may have happened decades afterwards, but it was probably the movie was controversial when it came out because considering it happened, just a few years, not only after the murders, but after when the Lutzes were living there.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Braxton, how's it going? Yeah,
hey,
sorry.
Braxton, there he is. I was wondering where he was.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh, appreciate you subscribing, Sydney.
She also was saying that in regard to my channel, too. Yeah, Sydney, if you just look at my channel, just look up my full name, you'll find me there. Although I'm going to be doing a re-release with my audiobooks because let's just say that there were some things that I missed out that I missed on fixing, and I'm going to be doing a re-release on them.
Oh yeah. So Sydney, both Nick and I have our own independent YouTube channels. We are also part of what's called the Things Network, which is a paranormal network. But I pitched the idea of a horror movie review show about 4 years ago, and
Actually,
it was
5 years ago, almost 5 years ago now.
5.
Really? Wait, I thought it was 4
started
years.
back up later this year, October of 2021. Things Network is going to be entering its 5th. It's going to be having our 5th anniversary. We made it, guys, or we almost made it. I should say we almost made it. I'm going to say halfway there.
Oh yeah, and so yeah, Sydney, on my channel, I do all sorts of things. I do reaction videos. I do video game live streams. As a matter of fact, I'm also about to start a new video game live stream series tomorrow, 7 p.m. Yeah, 7 p.m. Central Time, where I will be playing the new James Bond game, First Light. Just came out, so can't wait to play it. Yeah, can't wait.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome.
Oh yeah.
And that is Western Australian time, Wednesday, Nick, help time?
Are you talking about my show or his show?
Mine.
Don's.
Okay, your time is what I'm sorry.
So tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time. So that's Chicago's time.
Okay, hang
So
on.
Yep.
7 p.m. Central Time and to hang on, Western Australia time. That is it's not too bad. That is 8 a.m. Your time, Nikki.
oh, okay.
So
And
it's
Cool.
start of the morning.
all right. And Sydney, reaction videos is where I film myself watching all kinds of viral videos and movie trailers and sometimes music videos. Music videos are the harder ones for me to do because of copyright issues, but I'm trying to get back. I'm going to get back into that as well this week.
Oh, and look at what Tom just wrote. Second
Hey,
ago.
Tom.
Hey, Tom. Good to see
Is
you.
that Pickle Tom or the other Tom?
Tom McNicholas. You're referring to the priest associate. Yeah, Father Mancuso. The Father. Oh, it's a different name. Father
53.
Ralph J. Picaro died in 1987 at the age of 53.
Oh man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, Sydney, this is really both of our shows. We started this show together.
Yeah.
Yes. And so as
Nikki
far as,
also has her own show too that I also
yes.
help out with.
And then I just randomly popped up one day and went, hello.
oh yeah, she's become part of the show since, and Jill is part of the show at times as well. But yeah, so yeah, man, Jill, we need you back on the show one day. Seriously, man, we miss you.
Yeah.
Here.
It's been too long. We need you.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see. Well, wanted to. Also, one of the scenes that I still don't understand is when Kathy is doing her stretches or something with her shirt open and and is in her underwear. I'm like, why does she have the door open? I mean, does she forget that she has kids in this house?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's like sure, it's late at night and you put them to bed, but that doesn't mean that the kids will always stay in bed.
Well, and later and during that scene, indeed, one of them shows up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And I had a friend who jokes about that, saying that they ended up getting cockblocked. Yeah, I know. But anyway, yeah, Sydney, that's the name, a nickname we have for another guy named Tom, who is a big fan of Rick and Morty, because there was an episode called Pickle Rick.
Yeah,
so.
you know what, Morty? I turned myself into a pickle. Tom can also do the voice too. He does it way better than I could. Oh, jeez, Rick.
Yeah. And also, there was that scene that I've always made fun of in this, where there's this black sludge that is coming out of the faucets, and they could basically is in their water system, and I'm just like, wow, they struck oil,
That's right.
and I'm just like, are we sure this is supposed to be scary? I think these guys just became rich.
It's like I can understand how you would feel about that scene, but also more importantly, you kind of can't help but wonder though, how people must have reacted to it when it was originally back, when it was originally in theaters back in 1979.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are some things I feel that could be funny, now that we're kind of supposed to be much more serious back then. I mean, people used to freak out about people moving inside of paintings, but Harry Potter movies made that not scary anymore.
Exactly. It was a different time too. You have to remember as well.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, just saying, they definitely changed the way we look at certain things these days. I mean, let's see. What else was I gonna say? And also, as George was in this house, obviously the house was having a negative effect on him, pretty similar to how Jack Torrance was in The Shining.
Yeah, you can clearly. Although the difference was between The Shining and Amityville Horror, you can clearly tell it was definitely otherworldly forces that were at work on George himself.
Mm-hmm.
In The Shining, yes, you had that too, but there were also kind of questions involving were the ghosts in that movie actually like Jack, at least Jack was seeing, were they actually real? Because the different there goes, oh, Nikki must have lost connection.
Yeah, she lost.
She'll probably come back, but the difference is that with The Shining, you're dealing with isolation and loneliness. They were far from civilization. With Amityville, on the other end, it was taking place in a neighborhood. They had plenty of other people around, and they even had friends that visit them. So clearly, you can kind of see with Amityville, it clearly was the demonic forces itself that was causing to have this negative effect, and probably the house itself that was causing him to become possessed. But with The Shining, on the other hand, in other words, it became almost more not only just supernatural, but also kind of more like a psychological effect.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely depicted that quite well in this. When it comes to the compulsive nature that he had to certain things, such as when George was kept trying to keep the fire going because he felt like it got too cold all the time, and also all that wood chopping that he was doing,
Right.
which was also done in the remake as well with Ryan Reynolds. And also, I always poked fun at that scene where he just like throws the axe into the tree. And it's
Oh
like
yeah.
people must have thought that was just like psychotic back then, but I'm like. Yeah, people that may have been kind of crazy back then, but we pretty much turned it into a sport now. Axe throwing, I've done it.
Axe throwing, yeah. Well, also, real quick, Nikki just messaged in the chat. She said she wanted to apologize that her internet just went out. That's
Um,
why
yeah.
she went out.
Oh man, she's got. I was about to say she's got the worst internet.
I think there's a lot of it, and it's not just because
Well,
she was in Australia. I think
yeah,
it's other. I think there's other issues going on with their internet.
yeah. Who does the axe throwing? Sitting. George does in this. James Brolin. Yeah, there's a scene where like he's like sharpening an axe very compulsively, like where it looks like pretty psychotic, and then seemingly out of anger or instability, he just like throws an axe into a tree, which is like whoa.
Yes, she is, Cindy. She lives in Western Australia, in Perth, to be exact.
Oh yes, and our friend Jill is from California. We also have a guy in Colorado, and also Irene, who commented earlier in this, is from Japan. So we've got all sorts of people associated with us across the world.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a lot of international folks. So,
Oh yeah, those rage rooms. Those are starting to become popular in Chicago.
yes, they have.
Yeah, it's like
In fact, I don't know if you remember, Don. Our Rochelle, our other friend, said that they want us to go to a rage room at some point. Like, if we have like personal issues that we're not happy about right now, she suggested we should do that sometime, just to take our anger out in a rage room.
yeah,
And see why not?
yeah. And because it's like I've done reaction videos to like those gamer ragers, yeah, where people are just smashing up their consoles and their TVs and their controllers. It's like, oh my god, it's like you look at people like that, it's just like, are they like that towards other inconveniences in life, or like if their Keurig doesn't work or if their car doesn't start?
Right, right.
Yeah, so it's like maybe it's a good thing that those rage rooms do exist, so they take it out on the stuff that they're allowed to take it out on instead of everything else around them. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing that rage rooms exist.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I did do a video a few years back, axe throwing. That was
no
yeah that
problem.
yeah no worries, thank you. That was one of the last videos I made with my girlfriend before my breakup. But yeah, but anyway, yeah, I did try axe throwing and I did enjoy it.
Pickle Tom's in the chat.
Oh, hey Tom.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah, so Amityville Horror, it's like definitely a good like a haunted house sort of a thriller, but the remake is also worthy of worth watching as well, especially if you love Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
before he became Deadpool.
yeah, and again, anything I see him in now, I just think of Deadpool.
Yeah, that's Sydney. That's the guy that we were talking about earlier, Tom Nally. He has a you should. Hey, you know what? That's another channel you need to subscribe. Yes, it is. Yes, that's another channel you need to subscribe. Is his YouTube channel? This is Tom's World, and well, I'll let Tom do more of the explaining for that. But yes, go to he's always looking for more subscribers. Or
Yes.
as I should say, I have to say it the original way. Go to youtube.com/ this is Tom's World, no apostrophe on the S.
Yeah, for sure. So, oh man, yeah, Amityville Horror. I remember first seeing this as a teenager, and I thought this was pretty chilling. But the remake, oh man, they went all out on the remake to create like a more menacing atmosphere.
Yeah, even though probably about a good 90% of the film, 90% of that movie is entirely fictional, especially compared to the original one. It still had its good taste of scares to it, one way or
Oh
another.
yes, and it's also worth noting that the original Amityville Horror was nominated for, I believe, Best Original Score. Yeah, I believe it was.
It was also done by Michael Bay, so the same producer that did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. This was
Oh, you
around
mean
the
the
time,
remake? Yes.
yeah, this was around the time too when in the early 2000s, not only just Amityville, but a lot of classic horror movies were getting remakes at that time.
Oh yeah, I believe the remake was produced by Michael Bay. I don't think he directed it. Let's see.
It
Andrew
says,
Douglas directed the remake.
oh, it just says here on the top of it for Michael Bay, the producer of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Um,
So let's see.
but
The remake has Ryan Reynolds, Chloe Grace Moretz. Yeah, it has a few familiar faces.
yeah, unfortunately, Don, we're pretty much out of time. But I was thinking to myself because I feel like there's still a lot more to talk about Amityville. Would you have the idea of maybe doing like a part two out of this? What do you think?
I think so.
Because there's just so much to talk about with Amityville, like between the movies and the real life case. So just
Yeah.
thought I'd expand it to a part two. Just what do you think? Oh,
Yeah, I
Sydney
think.
would like one.
Okay. If enough people ask for it, then yes, we will definitely consider a part two on this. Yeah, that would be a first though. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that we ever made like a part two, like continuation of a topic on here, like for the next episode.
You know, I kind of figured it was something that I was going to bring up originally, like before we started doing the show, Don. I had so many other things on my mind, but I kind of figured that at some point we would do a show where we would probably do like an extension of one of these movies, because for a movie, like I said, with a movie franchise like Amityville, there's just so much to talk about. We didn't necessarily get. I mean, yes, I know I did a lot of covering with the real life stuff, but obviously both the movies and the real life, there's still just so much to talk about with this that we didn't get to
Totally.
cover yet.
Yeah. Okay. We can cover more of this. Yeah. And
Yeah, assuming we can do
it's
both.
yes. Yeah. Maybe we could do both. We can cover this one. We can cover the remake as well from 2005.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's really a need. I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I don't know if there's really a need to really cover the sequels because, like I said, it all
Yeah.
revolves around the. I mean, it's up to you, of course, but it all
Yeah, I was
revolves
about to
around the
say,
original.
like, some of them feel like watered down, like rehashes of this.
As far as I'm concerned, the only ones that we should, well, if we do decide to cover more of the movies, is let's we should at least cover the first four. So Amityville 2, obviously the original one, Amityville 4, and 3D. Well, actually, let's make it 5, including the remake too, like you said. Oh, yeah. So those are the ones I would focus on the most.
Okay. All right, I will definitely consider it. So next time, we will definitely cover some more Amityville Horror franchise. And after that, oh man, since it's summer, we definitely got to cover some more summer-related horror.
Yeah, there's a number of other summer related horror movies that I'd like for us to go. So yes, Sydney, there's going to be more of this. Uh, we're thinking, when are you thinking about coming back on next? Because I clearly not next Tuesday, because next Tuesday is my sister's birthday.
Right.
So
Okay, what about the Tuesday after? I mean, since this is a bi-weekly horror podcast now.
yeah, June 9th. As of right now, I don't have anything going on for that Tuesday. So yeah, as a matter of fact, that would be perfect because the following June afterwards, June 16th, is when I have the passages meeting. So yeah, let's go for Tuesday, June 9th.
Yeah, we can do that. And I'm trying to think of what other horror movies we can cover, like that's based in like summertime. Like one of them is definitely The Burning, which is oh man, it takes place at
That's a
a
good one.
yeah, it takes place at a summer camp because we've covered Friday the 13th, we've covered Sleepaway Camp. We also could jump back to the Friday the 13th franchise with Part 6. I mean, that's the next one.
Yeah. Jill, yeah, we did do I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, we didn't do I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
That is correct. We still haven't done that one yet. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Another
But
movie I
as
thought
long as
about.
as long as you don't ask us to cover, I'll always know what you did last summer. That
No,
movie,
God, no, that
that
doesn't
movie
count.
sucks. That movie sucks.
Oh, it's terrible, and I still haven't seen it, but yet I already know it's bad. Um,
I believe me. I saw it when it first aired on TV. It was like aired on like one of those stream services back in 2006, and oh god, it's painful to watch.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
part six. Yeah. Well, yeah, Sydney, like I mean, part six. I think there were quite a few redeeming qualities, but I can agree that like after that, the quality of Friday the 13th tends to die down, especially with part eight,
Yeah.
which the whole cover, the whole like box cover was a complete lie because Jason does not take Manhattan. He just kills a bunch of kids on a cruise ship and chases the remaining ones throughout the city and
Yep.
during the last 20 minutes, and that's it. That's all it is. He doesn't take over Manhattan. He just kills people on a boat and chases the remaining two through the city. Yeah, that's all it is.
Another movie to also throw out, it's not only just a summer movie, but would also considering that graduation is coming up for a lot of people, like whether it's middle school or high school or college or universities. There's also the 1981 classic slasher movie Graduation Day too.
Oh yeah,
That's
I
another one to throw
I
in.
haven't seen that one in ages.
I haven't seen that one since funny enough, I saw it back when I was in high school, and I haven't seen it in ages either. But I still
Same.
remember the plot line.
Same. Oh man, but anyway, yeah, we definitely need to.
Yeah, we got to get off because Greg has probably already started. So we definitely do need to go. And that's the other thing too. I know Jill's going to, but if anybody would like to watch the next show, Sydney, since you're still new, be sure to check out the show next. I know you're not big into the paranormal, but next show is called Ghost Box Live. That is hosted by Greg Backen. And he does his show actually 5 nights a week at around 10 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Yep.
Really good show. Definitely one of the best. We're glad to have him back. So, yeah, definitely check it out if you want to see it. And like I said, Sydney, as we just said, we'll be back with this show about 2 weeks from now, which is Tuesday, June 9th. But I'll be helping out with Nikki's show this upcoming Thursday night at around... well, usually it's about 10 o'clock Central Standard Time with her show, but we might be starting a bit earlier because the other show that I do also on Thursday nights, we're on hiatus for that one. If you want to check out Nikki's show, which I also do alongside with her, Robert White, that lives in Queensland, Australia. It's essentially our Australian podcast, but I help out with the show. That is on Thursday night at 10 o'clock, and that show is called Paranormal PWA. So, yeah, if you want to see more of us, feel free to check us out.
Oh yes, and Nick, I just remembered one of them. The new. I mean, it's not new. It came out a few years ago, but let's see, Summer of '84. That's like a summer slasher film.
That's another one, yeah.
Yeah, I believe they have that on Netflix still. So yeah, that one's definitely worth covering as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
Oh yeah, and to answer your question, Jill, we did cover the 2010 remake of Piranha. And,
Yeah, we did.
I believe that's actually our most watched episode.
I think so, too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, well, we got all sorts of different possibilities. You know, that's the beauty of this podcast. We can never run out of work.
Right, exactly. That's same with the other show I do, Nick Files. So I have so many places and events to cover that my work is never done, but I enjoy it though.
Oh yeah. So that's going to be it for this edition of the FearFans podcast. Be sure to tune in for part 2 of this topic in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to covering some more Amityville horror related content.
Yeah. In the meantime, you guys all have a great night. Have a great start to your summer, because clearly summer is just around the corner at this point. And also, I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend this past weekend.
Oh yeah, that's right. I hope you all enjoyed your holiday weekend. Oh, and Ray, to answer your question, what I would do if the purge was real, I would just look around the world and say, "Yep, there goes my faith in mankind."
Yep, that would be it.
Yeah. All right. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on my channel when I start covering the new 007 game First Light at 7 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. So have a good night, everybody.
Good night.